CapitalWeatherGang.com. Thanks so much for tuning in on our weekly Sunday sunset chats. Anytime you need us, we're at CapitalWeatherGang.com. We'll talk about foliage, tropics, the week ahead that looks sunny and warm. Latest forecast right there is my PM update at CWG.news/latest is the direct link. But again, anytime on the blog, you can find us at CapitalWeatherGang.com. Here's the current very early peaks of color for the fall foliage in the mid-Atlantic. We'll talk about the forecast as well. Liam, thanks for joining on Twitter. And sign in, thanks so much for joining on Twitter as well. And I think I am all set on all the comments. I can see them from Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Very good. All right, let's go ahead and look into the details of this week's forecast. The clouds will stay clear of us. Clear skies are in the white, clouds are in the blue. We don't really see much in the way of maybe a couple of periodic clouds tomorrow night. But Friday into Saturday, that could be when we see clouds build more. Precipitation may wait until then as well with our next disturbance moving in from the Great Lakes. But it's quick, it's pretty light, and it doesn't, sorry to say, amount to too much for your gardens or your crops. We don't like to see this with the drought in the region, but luckily we should have enough to stop the drought from getting worse. Ophelia's range last week helped us dent the drought ever little bit. We have stopped it from expanding, but we do need to do more precipitation work in the region to get things quelched in the drought department. Temperatures pretty darn pleasant this week. Above average for sure, not record breaking, but 80 to 85 degrees. That's going to also be accompanied by occasionally moist, slightly unpleasant dew points, but overall comfort factor is, I'd say, medium high. I think most of us will enjoy 80 to 85 degrees. Remember, the sun angle is a little lower, sun's a little less strong this time of year. So it should be pretty enjoyable. Temperatures cool back into the 70s by maybe late Thursday into Friday, and maybe even some upper 50s to near 70 in a wider temperature range on Saturday, depending on the exact timing and amounts of clouds and rains that we see going into this weekend. Alex, thanks so much for tuning in from Facebook. Carol, beautiful day today. I agree with you. Hey, Ruth Elisa. The weather on Saturday for your birthday, I'm sorry to say, could be a little bit unsettled, but at least rain amounts so far don't look like too much. And good evening, David and Chad. We will put out our winter forecast closer to Thanksgiving, but I'm glad you're tuned into the NOAA forecast. And I think, Alex, you're pretty clear in North Carolina with no rain, and Chad, at least for the next few days, and Chad making up for drought. Hopefully we do see some additional snowfall this winter to kind of keep us in the precipitation positive categories as we go into the winter months. All right, here it is again, my latest forecast, the PM update at CapitalWeatherGang.com. That's our blog anytime you need us. Direct link to my latest forecast at CWG.news/latest. Thanks for tuning in on our weekly Sunday Sunset Chat on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. You can also go to CWG.news/X. I'm still getting used to the branding there. And also note that for Indigenous peoples and Columbus Day next Monday, that will be our holiday edition of our weekly chat. So instead of our usual Sunday sunset chat, it'll be a holiday Monday sunset chat in 8 days' time. So keep that in mind. Carol's heading to Myrtle Beach a week on Saturday. Nothing to worry about in the tropics. Let me show you let's go longer term for you, Carol. We've got maybe precipitation kind of leaning below average for next week. And then for temperatures, we're also kind of leaning with slight probability below average for temperatures. So you might need to take one extra layer for yourself there in Myrtle Beach, Carol. And the tropics, luckily, are pretty quiet. Felipe should stay away from the United States. Rena is in the process of dying and becoming a remnant low. So I hope that eases your fears for the time being, though we could see by mid-October a slight uptick in tropical activity as is seasonally typical before we get to a usually quieter November. All right. Yep. Holiday on Monday, Ruth Elisa. We've got Columbus Day, Indigenous Peoples Day in 8 days' time. So that's when you'll hear from me next. Instead of our Sunday sunset, we'll do a holiday Monday sunset live Q&A. Carol, you're most welcome. And Amy, do I expect it to be dry? It's by Saturday afternoon. It's too early to say the exact timing of the rains, but I'll show you that animation one more time. Here it is kind of Friday and then Saturday. That's our main rain chance this week. Currently, preferential areas for seeing rain are in the drought-stricken areas, west and northwest of DC. I currently, in the Euro model here, it does kind of indicate it's leaning toward a drier afternoon and evening for Saturday. but I would not bank on it just yet. Do have a plan B if you do have some afternoon, evening plans anytime on Saturday, frankly. I would just be a little bit flexible in those outdoor plans that are sensitive to rain. All right, we've got David. Past 2 months, first week is the warmest, then cools down after. That's great. If I would love to see that correlation. Please produce a spreadsheet for me. Sometimes Mother Nature works in a perceived 7-day work week or 7-day week on the calendar. Sometimes her patterns are less perceivable when they're 8 or 9 days and they kind of drift. So it's a very interesting thing with Mother Nature versus human perception of time, what those typical pattern cycles might be. Amy, you're most welcome. And Eric, hey, from the Valley, only a few comments on the PM update so far. It has been quiet. I bet people are just signing back in after a decent day. And very good. Thanks so much for tuning in, Eric from Facebook. And we've got James on YouTube. Average daytime high this time of year is about in the low 70s, I believe. And that's why when I look at kind of the temperatures for the week ahead, I don't think we're going to be too chilly just yet. When I see the atmosphere's leaning a little below average, but this weekend could be a little bit chilly as that cold front and rain first moves through later Friday into Saturday. We could see some upper 50s for our coolest high temperatures in typically cooler spots, higher elevations west of town, northwest of town of DC. But I don't think it'll be too chilly next week overall, because even a little bit below average is still pretty comfortable for this time of year. And Alan, at least we don't have too much precipitation in the cards for Sunday. So sometimes Mother Nature likes to give us a break on the weekends. Sometimes it's work week rain. You never know. Ruth Lisa, thanks so much. And we've got David, Columbus Day and Indigenous Peoples Day is coming up next Monday. So instead of 7 days from now for our weekly Sunday Sunset Chat, you will see me for a Holiday Monday edition Sunset Chat in 8 days' time for Columbus Day, Indigenous Peoples Day. All right, Liam and Cinvian, thanks so much for joining in from Twitter. And everyone, please let your friends know. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube right now. CWG.news/X on X, of course, is the new brand name. That link also works. Please share it far and wide with your friends and family. Pollen update here. Same as last week. Mold and mildew spores are still moderate. Everything else is pretty low, so as fellow allergy sufferers, it's been an okay week. It's not been perfect, but hopefully you're feeling okay like I have been, relatively speaking. And of course, we've lost over 10 minutes of daylight since you talked to me last. Our sunset is now about 12 minutes earlier, I think, than last week. So we are before 7 p.m., unfortunately. Days continue to get shorter. Sunsets continue to get earlier, so you'll talk to me earlier and earlier as we go into our sunset chats into fall and winter. All right, Brian, I hope indeed Orioles playoff run can have good weather, and that's a good call. So good news for this week is that Monday through Thursday look pretty darn nice, and I think overall we've got pretty decent setup for this week. Check out this forecast. Sunshine should rule through at least midweek. Shower chances really don't enter the picture until later Friday, maybe holding off until Friday night. Rain could maybe move out of here by Saturday late afternoon into evening. Doesn't look too heavy. We'll get into the details on precipitation in a minute, but let's talk about foliage. I think I've got a foliage forecast down here for you as well. Let's make sure I have got that queued up for you. But right now, at least the current status of Mid-Atlantic color is kind of low. It's just starting to pop at the higher elevations. My latest forecast at CWG.news/latest, or anytime you need us, we're at capitalweathergang.com. And then beautiful Sunday indeed, and that's for this upcoming weekend. It looks like a decent chance, but still keep a little bit flexible for those plans this weekend. We want to get that rain, that cold front through here on Friday night through maybe midday Saturday as it stands now. Hello, appreciate you tuning in, J.R. Connolly from Twitter, and Peter, hello on Facebook, and appreciate you all tuning in. All right, so let's move into other details for this upcoming week. Clouds are going to hang back here in the white clear color. Clouds are in the blues, and they kind of stay at bay until Thursday into Friday, and maybe cloudy by Saturday morning as well. I think we'll see some clouds lasting into then as well. Currently, and I do want you to stay flexible, it looks like we could keep rains focused on Friday night, maybe while we sleep, but I still want you to have maybe a plan B for late Friday into at least midday Saturday, even maybe Saturday afternoon, in case this cold front slows down. Here's a look at precipitation. The format, it's pretty light, pretty broken. It waits until Friday, maybe Friday night, to really rain on us, especially west and northwest of DC. And it could be out of here pretty quickly. There's a chance that we have a decent Sunday on tap. Looking ahead at the rain amounts for Friday, Saturday, current thinking on the timing for that rain. Look at how light it is in southeastern Virginia and the Hampton Roads, little to none. But the good news is west, northwest of town, the drought areas that we've seen are going to see a little bit of rain that should at least stop the drought from getting worse. I'm not going to pretend the drought is going to be dented by a half inch of rain or so, but at least we kind of keep up and stop, developing more rain deficits and rainfall droughts further into fall. Let's see, Chad has Cumberland Valley you've got hailstorms, droughts, and spotty leaves with the fungus. It's been a rough time near you, Chad. I understand that. And Peter, precipitation outlook for that next week. Let's look at that again. We've got for you, first off, precipitation for next work week, leaning below average with slight probability, and the temperatures leaning with slight probability below average. So it could be maybe a hair chilly 1 or 2 days, but our average high temperatures are still pretty comfortable this time of year. So even if we lean briefly into the upper 50s or 60s this weekend or early next week, I don't think, despite it being a change in pattern compared to our awesome warm and sunny conditions through midweek this week, it's not probably going to feel like a long-term change of seasons for us, but we'll keep you posted at capitalweathergang.com as we get closer. Tropics are currently active with Felipe scraping the Leeward Islands, especially I think we've got Barbuda and Aruba are seeing some impacts. Rena is dying out and is turning into a remnant low very quickly without convection at its center. The next named storm is Sean on our list, but the good news is behind these two named systems, there are no other disturbances that the National Hurricane Center is watching in the next 7 days. So that's some good news. But let's focus briefly on Felipe, which did get a little bit closer than we expected at this point yesterday even. It got a little closer to the Leeward Islands, so it is scraping some of those northeastern Leeward Islands. There is Rena dying out on the east side of that tropical storm force projection, and there in the Leeward Islands, further kind of lower left in the center there, that is Felipe. And here are the key messages with some flash flooding possible and some tropical storm conditions possible as the overnight hours and Felipe gets closer tonight into tomorrow to those couple islands. I think we've got, there it is, Antigua and Barbuda are the main islands currently under a tropical storm watch and warning. Let's see, we've got sunset time getting earlier and earlier. There's your pollen report, which is the same as last week, thank goodness. So I think that's some good news, at least for fellow allergy sufferers. We've seen kind of a stable regime in our allergies. Mold and mildew still bothersome, but it could be worse. We could have trees, weeds, or grasses like keeping us company while we deal with the mold and mildew, so that's some good news. And if I want to spin positive, we're on X, YouTube, and Twitter. Facebook, you can go to CWG.news/X as well. That link will work if you want to share that with your friends and family. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Camden Walker for CapitalWeatherGang.com, simulcasting to you live on our weekly Sunday Sunset Chat. You'll see me next Monday for our holiday Monday Sunset edition on Columbus Day and Indigenous Peoples Day in 8 days' time. Unless maybe workflows change at the Washington Post, we'll keep you posted on that if it changes, but expect to see me next Monday. All right, I think I have got a couple more slides to show you. Let me see if I can pull up our latest forecast at a glance right here, featuring sunshine. And here at the top, we've got our foliage, which is starting to peak, but we have the whole month of October for our region to kind of progress into typical peak times for peak color. Latest forecast there at capitalweathergang.com, my PM update, or go directly to CWG.news/latest. Rain chances hold off until maybe Friday night. Could dampen our Saturday a little bit, but there are chances, there are glimmers of hope. If the rain stays on time, which is asking a lot, 6+ days out, we could have a drier Saturday late afternoon, evening, and to Sunday as well. But do prepare for temperatures to kind of cool down as we get those rain chances going up at the end of the week. Just try and enjoy with outdoor time as much as you can through the middle part of this week while you work. Take long lunches and enjoy our comfortable time of year. Clouds are behaving right now. We've got Plenty of days of clear skies here in the white. You'll see those clouds here in the blue move in as we get toward late week and into the early part of our weekend. But let's soak up those rays, soak up the 80 to 85 degree temperatures. Precipitation shouldn't bother us, even though we could use it, certainly. Precipitation doesn't really bother us until maybe Friday night is the current focus. Maybe Saturday morning is another focus, but we'll keep you posted on the timing, which is kind of lower confidence as we get toward the end of the week and the weekend. Do have some plan Bs maybe for plans on Friday and Saturday, just to be safe. But don't act on them just yet until we raise confidence a little bit more as we get closer. Look at this precipitation amounts, luckily targeting the drought-stricken areas west and northwest of town, which is great. Not too much like down in the Hampton Roads area, but a little bit is better than none. Hopefully we can kind of stop the drought, tread water, and kind of keep things from getting worse in western parts of Virginia. And comfort this week, we'll have maybe moments of dew points 60 to 65 degrees with some of our warm 80 to 85 degree temperatures through midweek. So a little bit moist, a little bit maybe becoming unpleasant at times, but overall I think we'll take what we have while we have it, and I think most of us will enjoy it. All right, David, thanks. Yes, take some time off this week if you can to get outside instead of working indoors. Planning on going to Williamsburg next Saturday. I think there will be some rain extending down there, but a little bit less, as you saw on our rainfall map, Paul. We do have the chance for a little bit less rain down in the Hampton Roads and Williamsburg area for, like, by the time you talk to me. Well, you're not talking to me next Sunday, but this goes through next Sunday evening, and you'll talk to me Monday for our holiday edition. Weekly Sunday holiday sunset chat in 8 days. But the good news is if you're heading to Williamsburg and Hampton Roads, can't rule out some showers, but overall rain amounts look much lower than west and northwest of DC at this time for the 7-day forecast looking ahead. And again, our main rain chances are sticking to Friday and Saturday this upcoming week. We have a pretty dry week on tap, maybe some patchy fog a couple mornings, but I think it's overall pretty darn nice, a little humid, a few clouds every now and then. I think we'll take it. I think, we're nitpicking sometimes. Today was pretty hard to top. We'll see if we can rate tomorrow maybe still a high digit. I don't know if it will garner a 10 out of 10 with some additional clouds and humidity for our work week start on Monday, but we'll keep you posted. All right. Yep, Charlene, the weather is looking good there. Thanks for tuning in. Maria, hello. Thanks so much for tuning in. And a beautiful Sunday, Annette. I totally agree. All right, I'm on the air another 2 minutes or so before I sign out. Let me go through some things. You let me know if you have any questions. We've got our latest forecast here at CWG.news/latest. That's my PM update at capitalweathergang.com. We're on X, Facebook, YouTube. You can go to CWG.news/Twitter or CWG.news/X. I don't know why I'm having such a problem with the rebranding, but that's just me. We're on all three right now, simulcasting live. Appreciate you very much tuning in on all three of our platforms. Pass these shorter links on to your friends and family if you could be so kind to grow our audience. Here's the precipitation outlook for next work week looking ahead, leaning with slight probability at below average precipitation, leaning with slight probability at below average temperatures, but still fairly comfortable overall for this time of year. Tropics are waning, slowly diminishing in activity. Felipe is luckily the last storm for a while. We expect in the next 7 days, according to the Hurricane Center. But before it does its turn out to sea, there's a slight chance it scrapes Bermuda later this week with some tropical storm force winds. But right now, a couple islands and Leeward Islands are actually seeing some tropical storm conditions potentially tonight, tomorrow. So it did get a little closer to the Leeward Islands than we initially expected even 24 hours ago. But I think with it being only a tropical storm, they should manage okay. But the good news is for the United States, maybe just adding some swells to our very swell wavy summer on the U.S. East Coast, thanks to the active tropics in the tropical Atlantic this summer. Pollen update, not doing bad, the same as last week, moderate for mildew and mold. There's all three of our simulcasting links that we're on right now, all three platforms. And earlier and earlier sunset, you'll continue to talk to me earlier and earlier. Camden Walker for CapitalWeatherGang.com. That's where we are 24/7. And as we get into fall and winter, I will see you earlier and earlier as the sunsets earlier and earlier. And next Monday will be our holiday edition for Columbus Day and Indigenous Peoples Day. So most likely you will talk to me in 8 days and not 7 days as is typical. All right, I will leave it there. Here's the foliage that we've seen so far in the mid-Atlantic. It's just starting to peak as of a few days ago. Kind of mid-October, we'll see more peak color developing. And we'll keep you posted as we get into the beautiful, hopefully decent color season. Latest forecast is right there, the direct link at CWG.news/latest, or anytime you need us, we're at capitalweathergang.com. Forecast looks pretty freaking awesome through midweek, 80 to 85 degrees. Humidity fairly under control, clouds fairly under control through at least the middle part of the week, but do have kind of some plan Bs just in case for Friday, Saturday. We could see another cold front come through. We do need that rain, but it may not add up to too much. It could just kind of foil a few of your rain-sensitive plans. Charlene, you're most welcome. Lewis will have more of our winter outlook for precip and temperatures as we get toward Thanksgiving typically, but we're gathering some data. And feel free to tune into NOAA, NOAA.gov. I think they have their winter outlook out, which is preliminary, but it's good that they're starting. Caroline, you're most welcome. David, you're most welcome. Paul, yep, Twitter X, it's still two names to me. But Paul, you're most welcome. And David, take care. All right, everyone, take care on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook and X. I appreciate you all so much. I'll see you next Monday for a holiday sunset chat. Take care until then. Bye-bye.